Okay, this is my chapter 14, module 14, reading reflection. I wanted to start by talking about, let me pull it up, about um, the module 14 application, because one thing that I learned while doing this is that my responses typically as a person would not be very good at diffusing the situation. Um, I'm not neurotypical, and I've had to work really, really hard at understanding how my messages can be hurtful, but then also understanding how to respond to a hurtful message in a way that's not going to perpetuate hurt, right? I think the way that I would like to respond to a message is I can acknowledge that a person hurt me without having to hurt them in return, right? And that's something, I grew up in a very argumentative family, and that's part of the reason I'm that way. But also, I have a hard time understanding how what I'm saying could hurt somebody. And so I've had to work really, really hard to be better at that, right? And luckily, I have a very patient wife who has been willing to teach me how to be a better communicator, right? And I've gotten much better just from communicating with her and having somebody who's willing to be hurt by me every once in a while because they think it's important that I learn, right? And she can say, okay, this is what you said. Do you understand how that could be hurtful for me? And we're able to talk about it, right? She does really good at diffusing things because she understands that sometimes I say something and I'm not meaning the way it is communicated, and she teaches me how to be a better communicator of that, right? Anyway, um, same thing the with the discussion this week. I found it easier to identify hurtful messages in there because I just felt like they were saying things to each other that I know that people talk to each other that way, but I was listening to it and I was like, I can't believe people talk to each other that way. Especially like somebody that you are planning on building a future with, right? And your parents. Like I had parents that I had a father who was very firm and said things that he meant and often said hurtful things, but was also really apologetic, right? So I think that also might have changed my opinion of what is okay to say, right? Because I had a father who said hurtful things and then understood that the things he said were hurtful and was very quick to say that was incorrect of me and I shouldn't have done that, and there's there's no excuse for it and I need to be better, right? He was really, really good at that, and it trained me to not say those things in the first place. And so it's crazy seeing people say those things, right? Another part of the chapter I want to talk about. Let me go find it real quick in my notes. A part of the triangle test, right? Um, empty apologies, and here I'm trying to make it half screen so I can talk about it while also looking at the camera. Um, Another part of responding to hurt, right? This is the third part of a message, right? Where you say something hurtful, somebody diffuses the situation but acknowledges the hurt and says, hey, how can we get through this? And an empty apology comes, right? I think that is one of the biggest kinds of hurtful messages. It's not explicitly said in hurtful messages, right? It's a different part, but it acknowledges like that you think that the other person's feelings are unimportant, right? Um, I love talking about communication. Like I've really, as we kind of come to the close of the semester, I feel very validated in me changing my major to this. Um, because I think I've worked so hard to become a better communicator, and so seeing things in these chapters that I have actually worked on has been really validating. Anyway.